Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Horler and I'm here with Jim Wadsworth of VocaLink, and we're at Money 2020 Europe in Copenhagen. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Morning.
Why is access to payment systems so important for new entrants to banking?
The big focus really for a lot of the so-called challenger banks is on real-time and real-time payments. And in the UK that means access to faster payments. And I guess the reason that's important, particularly for a lot of the consumer-facing players, is their propositions tend to be digital-centric, mobile-centric, and there's a very clear expectation amongst consumers that that means real-time. Actually, it's not just consumer either. Increasingly, we're seeing the same needs, the same expectations amongst small businesses, most obviously perhaps owner-managed companies, but even now, even in the corporate space. So for all of those new players, winning customers or seeking to win customers from the incumbents, real-time is absolutely a must-have. Apart from anything else, they're seeking to win business off the incumbents. The incumbents have real-time already, so that means you have to have faster payments to be a real player, and in turn that means you have to have access to faster payments.
Is it just about technology and plumbing?
Not sure about plumbing and payments, but certainly the technology side of it is a really important component. From a VocaLink perspective, we're very proud of the recent announcement made by the Faster Payment Scheme and ourselves that our PayPort offering is one of the so far only two solutions that's officially accredited by FPS for their new access model, which is all about providing access to the scheme, particularly but not limited to the challenger bank community. And what that PayPort offering does is, I guess it really deals with the technology aspects for those banks for connecting through to FPS. It joins up their back office to the scheme. So dealing on the one hand with things like message formats and protocols and so on, but also perhaps importantly for a newer player, value-added functionality like stand-in. And what that means is that one of the scheme rules of FPS is that you, as a bank, you've got to be available 24/7. You've always got to be reachable, and that's just a scheme rule, and an important one. But if you're a new player, perhaps you may not have the scale to have a truly 24/7 operation. Well, PayPort gives you stand-in. It makes you look like you're fully available, even if perhaps you're not quite 24/7 capable in reality. But equally, other components that it isn't quite about the technology that we feel we bring to bear is just a lot of expertise. We understand how this stuff works, so we can also absolutely help those new players take advantage of, get connected to, and generally make the best of faster payments. And the way we deliver the service, it's as a managed service, also means that the new guys can benefit from a service which we run just to the same service standards with the same capabilities in the same data centers as we do for all our other services, which means very close to 100% availability, incredibly high customer satisfaction scores and all the rest of it. So really kind of giving the new guys access to that really high quality service too. So it is largely about the tech, it's not just about the tech, that kind of wider service wrap's important. There's a couple of other subtleties as well. You need one way or another, you need access to a settlement account at the Bank of England to be a player in this space. Now you can do that directly, which means you need to have a banking license, or you can work with a sponsor bank. And for example, we're partnering with Waffles as one example to help make that sponsorship piece easy. I suppose the other kind of final area that's relevant, and a bit of a nod to the FPS scheme guys themselves, they made quite a subtle but important change last year to change the risk sharing rules, which makes it just a lot easier for a small guy to participate in the scheme compared to how they used to do.
We often talk about access to faster payments, but what about other payment systems?
Yeah, absolutely. FPS is where a lot of the focus is. But for example, again, to have a credible proposition as a new challenger, direct debits are a really important part of the UK scene. 70% of household bills are paid by DD, and that means therefore you really need to have access to BACS as well. And there are other payment systems around as well that, kind of for different propositions have different importance, both domestically and internationally. So one of the things we're looking to do to kind of respond to that broader need, over time we're going to evolve our PayPort offering beyond just FPS to also support other payment systems. So what that'll eventually mean for a bank, be a challenger bank or indeed an incumbent, is instead of having to have gateway capability for each individual clearing and settlement system, we're aspirationally going to get to be able to provide one single entry point covering multiple.
Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.